What's up, everyone? Dreamkiller coming at you in another video, and this is kind of a follow-up to my Star Wars review that I did, I think last week, or in the last weekend, and it's just a little bit of more information, and more critiques that I wanted to point out that I kind of missed because I was in the midst of this. I had just saw the movie. There's a lot to talk about, and I just missed it. And after watching a couple people's other reviews and what things that they pointed out, I felt I need to have my say in the things that I pointed out that I missed. So I got my list here of the things that I missed out, and if I missed out on anything else, please comment down below if I missed anything, and I'll discuss it in the comments section as best I can, my opinions and thoughts about that. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so let's start off with the big critique of the movie. The thing that has made people divided about this movie the most was the Kanto Bite scene. The planet Kanto Bite. So basically what happens throughout this movie, the movie starts out with the First Order, barraging the Resistance, following them in this, barraging the crap out of them. The Resistance is running out. The Resistance fleet is running out of fuel, and they're trying to scramble a plan. Meanwhile, Finn, along with the new character Rose, comes up with the idea of trying to sneak aboard the First Order, the main ship that's controlled by Snoke, to destroy the tracker that's following them, so they can just jump to light speed and get the fuck out of there. And with the approval, they go out, and that's where they go into the Kanto Bite planet, where they get from the advice of Maz, which, by the way, Maz was in the movie briefly, doing what, God knows what the fuck she was doing. She was like bouncing around, firing at shit. We don't know, but we got our Maz scene. She was there for like all but 5 minutes. She advises to go to Kanto Bite, where they find this master coder who can get Finn and Rose onto the ship without alerting security whatsoever. And so they go to this planet looking at the master coder, and Kanto Bite is a lot to take in for the short amount of period we were on that planet. It's a casino planet where all the rich and wealthy just go and gamble away their vast amount of money. It's a lot of CGI, it's a lot of aliens, it's a lot of whatever, and it's a certain amount of controversy, mostly because people are say it's so off-putting to the rest of the movie. It kind of kills the pace a little bit, almost slows it down to a crawl. On top of that, people were kind of not impressed with the CGI. They felt the CGI was kind of overdone in that particular part of the movie, and a lot of the messages people kind of felt like it was kind of forced down their throats. Like the idea of, the reason that people get their wealth is through the war against the First Order and the Resistance. Everyone's picking a side, and mostly people are siding with the First Order, supplying them with weapons and whatever to give them the advantage. And and that's where they get their money, and that's good and all, but it's, they're supposed to interpret, greed, it makes people slimy and evil, but you don't get that impression when you're watching that scene. It's just rich people being rich people. You don't get that evil sliminess that they're trying to force you down your throat. And also the idea, slavery is wrong because they got these child slaves that are taking care of these horse-like creatures that they use for race. And again with the horse-like creatures they're using for race, which is supposed to indicate, first of all, child slavery is wrong and animal abuse is wrong, but it's so forced down your throat, and it's not even enough to make you care. So I can understand why people are a little bit miffed by this scene, but for people to say that it changes the Star Wars universe forever, that's a little much. And also people that complain about the CG. Mini rant. It's time to get what I had to say here. For the people who have complained about CGI throughout Star Wars, starting with the prequels, I hate to tell you this, people, but CGI in Star Wars is not going anywhere. Like, I love how they mix together the practical effects with the CGI and blend together. Yeah, there's a lot of CGI that's kind of obvious and doesn't look good, but, you know, there's some that's really good, and people will just find any reason to complain about CGI in Star Wars, and it's getting quite annoying. CGI is not going anywhere, folks. Just deal with it. But the fact that people saying this changes the Star Wars universe forever with this one particular scene, it's not gonna change anything, folks. I'm sorry, I just don't see that. But I will admit, it's a scene that was a particular part of the movie that I do feel could have been left out, considering the fact that the plan to get the Master Coder to get to the Sith, or not Sith, the First Order ship didn't really work in the end. Yeah, they got the coder in Benicio del Toro, who did a fantastic job with his character, though I don't think we're gonna see him again anytime soon. But the plan ultimately didn't work, and they went with another plan. So that whole part of the movie was just pointless in the end, since what they were trying to do didn't work. And so if you had omitted that entire part out of the movie, I think it would have been a better paced movie. But it's not as bad as people are making it out to be, but and I will admit it could have been something we could have lived with. We're going to be talking about the First Order suddenly having power all of a sudden. So let's break this down. Force Awakens established that, you know, yeah, the First Order destroyed most of the Republic planets, and they were trying to make their dominance known. But after they destroyed the Starkiller base that was destroying the planets, they didn't have anything else. What more? I mean, the movie didn't make it seem like they had anything else up their sleeve. So why is the First Order suddenly all powerful? Why is the Resistance having a hard time with them? It's not like, you know, they have so many people left. Just because they blew up a couple of Republic planets doesn't mean that the Resistance is weak now. They clearly showed they still have a lot of people besides that fleet they showed off in this movie with that Leia was with. So I don't understand whatsoever why suddenly the First Order had power. I don't know if Rian Johnson just ignored everything that was in The Force Awakens, or that he just took bits and pieces of what he wanted to establish and expand upon, but it just doesn't make sense. That's just a small thing, but it's a thing that is noticeable. I didn't notice it at first when I was watching the movie, because I was just in awe of watching the movie, but as people pointed out in their reviews, I'm like, you know what? That does make a lot of sense. Why is the First Order suddenly in power? But yeah, that's another complaint about the movie that I need to point out. Right, next we're going to be talking about a thing that was also established in Force Awakens that was not brought up or even mentioned in the Last Jedi, and that's the Knights of Ren. J.J. Abrams established that Kylo Ren, when he turned against Luke, took a bunch of Luke's disciples and formed a group called the Knights of Ren, and being their leader. And so, to a lot of people that seemed very interesting. They wanted to see more upon that, see what the Knights of Ren were. But unfortunately, we did not get to see or know any more else after that, because The Last Jedi makes you think the Knights of Ren don't exist. And really, I mean, even in The Force Awakens, they established that one bit of trivia with the Knights of Ren in the flashback scene, and that's it. We didn't hear from anything else, and it's just Kylo Ren. And again, it's just Kylo Ren. Where's the rest of the Knights of Ren? I mean, again, we got through the story of Luke of how, you know, how Kylo Ren destroyed his Jedi temple and whatever. He again mentioned that he took a bunch of people and joined him. Where are they? I mean, are we going to hear from them in the next movie? I mean, if they didn't establish in this movie that they exist, how the hell are we going to expect them to know if they're going to be in the next movie? I mean, yeah, J.J. Abrams is coming back to direct, and so maybe we'll get back his vision that he wanted for Star Wars. Or maybe not, because again, he has to pick up so many pieces left behind by Rian Johnson's vision that we may not even hear about the Knights of Ren ever again. And that's just sad, because it's a nice bit of lore I would have liked to see. I would have liked to see more Sith, you know, against, you know, the Jedi and the Resistance, and we're not probably never going to get that. So that's a little irritation. And I'm a little disappointed by Rian Johnson for not fully developing more about that. Next we're going to be talking about something I cannot believe I missed in my review, and that was the cameo from Yoda. Boy, where do I begin? First of all, it was nice that they brought back the puppet. But we didn't see the puppet at first, because when they started out showing off Yoda, he looked a little bit weird. He looks overly CGI. His cheeks were all puffed up, and he was smaller than he looked in his original CGI model. I mean, I don't know what the hell happened with that first bit, but then we started seeing the puppet, and it was okay. Was he necessary for the story? Not really. He was just there to, you know, calm Luke down, because Luke was about to burn down this tree that had all the Jedi knowledge and ever, and he was kind of off his rocker a little bit, and this Yoda came there just to calm him down, maybe, and taunt him a little bit, saying, you know, even though, you know, Luke has aged a little bit, he's more, he's not the young Jedi he was before, he still has a lot to learn. But other than that, Yoda was kind of pointless, though, again, I will say, the puppet, I'm glad they brought back the puppet. It was a nice little nod to the original series. Next, we're going to be talking about Luke's character in this movie, and that's the thing that's gotten people a little miffed about Luke in this movie. Luke establishes that he wants nothing to do with the Force, he wants nothing to do with the war, he wants nothing to do with it, because after what happened with Kylo Ren, he just is just fed up. He says he went to that planet not to reestablish his connection with the Force. He went there to die. And, like, that's just... We expected a lot more from Luke, because, you know, Luke's been through a lot, you know, with going through when he was originally becoming a Jedi, dealing with his father, turning him back to the light. He's been through a lot, and suddenly this gives him reason to just flat out quit. And not only that, the revelation of finding out that Luke was actually the cause of why Kylo Ren turned to the dark side. And this is something I forgot to establish that I really wanted to talk about, but for some reason I skipped. So yeah, he was the reason. So we have multiple versions of the story that was given out. Luke gave his own version of the story. Kylo gave his own version of the story, and finally, after hearing enough, Rey just told Luke, give me the actual truth, and it's revealed that, yeah, Kylo was planning to kill, Luke was planning to kill Kylo because he sensed a little bit of dark side in him, and he thought it wouldn't be enough to try to turn him away from that, so the only solution was apparently to kill him, but he hesitates. And unfortunately, you know, Kylo witnesses it. You know, feels like he's betrayed, that his master let him down, and whatever. And he just goes full out. This fuck Luke. I'm done. I'm going to the dark side. And like, that's not Luke's character, like suddenly going off the deep end trying to kill something just because he senses a little bit of dark side. Luke has a little bit of dark side in him. Many people don't realize that. He has the light side mostly, but there's a little bit of dark side in him, and that's what keeps him balanced. That's what makes him a very interesting character. And but to like suddenly judge Kylo Ren just because he has a little bit of dark side in him is not like Luke's character at all. And again, the whole thing of he's just there to die, and ultimately he does die. I mean, he gets what he wants, but he does get some peace from what he did before he died, and then he dies, and he's at peace now. But that establishing thing that he doesn't give a fuck no more, he just wants to die, leave me alone, it's just not Luke's character at all. And that's a lot of people pointing that out, I'm pointing it out, it's a flaw of Luke's character. And even Mark Hamill agrees, Luke would never do the things that he was doing in The Last Jedi. And still though, what I don't understand is why did Mark Hamill go along with that then, if that was the case, if he didn't like what he was seeing. I mean, I don't know, again, money talks, I get it, you know, it's a paycheck, but if Luke gives that, or Mark Hamill gives that so much of a damn, why did he just go along with it? Why didn't he help out with the character, fleshing out Luke's character? I don't know, we'll never know, it's just said and done. Finally, this is just a little of a nitpick because people have also pointed this out, the humor in the movie. I absolutely adored the humor to a certain extent in this movie because it was a much needed refresher from serious notions, but that at the same time, it's a serious movie, very, very dark tone that the movie was trying to establish, and some of the humor that was established after some dark moments was kind of not needed. Like, don't get me wrong, the most funniest bit in that damn movie was Luke throwing the lightsaber after Rey presents it to him, because it's just so funny. He's like, nope, not dealing with this shit. I mean, it was funny, and it was unexpected, and it was a good part. But some humor was kind of, I could have done without. I mean, that opening where Poe's kind of fucking with General Husk, I think his name is, and after a little bit, it just got tiring. I'm like, okay, the joke's funny, but move on. There's several other bits that could have been a little bit shorter. But again, I'm just nitpicking about this. I didn't have a real problem with it, but a lot of people did. I don't mind humor in my movies. As long as it's not overdone, I could care less. So yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted to put out that I left out in my original review. Stuff that just got left on the wayside. Yeah, that's all I can say. I look forward, if you guys have more stuff that I left out, please, once again, comment down below and I will discuss it with you. I'm always interested in wanting to talk about and get into full discussions with Star Wars, because I love this series to death. Like, I have tons of shirts here of Star Wars. I love this series to death, and it's worth talking about. And there's a lot to talk about The Last Jedi, because people are, once again, are so divided by this movie. It's not even a joke. So yeah, comment down below. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about Star Wars. I always want to talk about Star Wars. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, hit that thumbs up button because my channel grows because of it. But apparently not my talking. And subscribe because, as always, I have many more videos to come like this. Thank you all for watching. I'm Dreamkiller. Gamers keep on gaming and Star Wars fans keep on rocking.